Another very common question or concern people have when they pick up a total gym or other sliding bench trainer is if it'll fit their personal dimensions. And this is a very good question, a valid question, because this may limit the overall functionality of the machine. Now in this video, I'm primarily going to focus on height because I get this question so often, which basically motivated me to make this video. But if you're concerned at all about just the dimensions fitting you, I think you'll get something out of this. So in this video, I'll do my best to kind of cover these things by breaking out all my sliding bench trainers and talking about a few things I think might be relevant or helpful to you guys. And if you do find this helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribe if you haven't, and also share this with somebody who might find this helpful or beneficial. Now, briefly, I wanted to show you guys some dimensions here. So you can see the Great Flex I'm comparing it to is about 14 inches across. The Total Gym Apex will be the same for all the Apex models, a little bit more narrow, about 1.5 inches. The Fit model, you can see a tiny bit of a taper compared to the Great Flex in the middle, but honestly, pretty much the same. And then the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks is also, you can see, about 1.5 inches shorter. I'd say even more than that compared to the Great Flex. The Great Flex length, is 44 inches in length. And then if we compare that to the Total Gym Apex, you can see, which again, this is going to be the same for all the cheaper models, is about 1 inch shorter. The Fit model is pretty much dead on the same. And then the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks actually surprisingly was also definitely shorter compared to the Great Flex and Fit models. Now you got to consider the glide of the machine too. Now here's the Great Flex. That's where we're going to take that baseline around 37. Here's the Total Gym Apex where it was compared to the Great Flex. And the Apex still has a little bit of room. You can see right there. It has a tiny bit little more glide compared to the Great Flex. The Total Gym Fit, when you consider, doesn't have these little stoppers at the top that the Great Flex does, also has some extra room there to kind of play with. And this is important if you're taller because, you know, your limbs are longer, so all these things are going to make a difference. Now the Great Flex has those rubber stoppers, which is good for not bottoming out, but bad for just limiting some of the length of the machine compared to the Fit. And the Weider actually has the shortest glide, so that's not very good in its favor. I want to show you guys these things all kind of extended out in the same height to make a couple just important things to kind of consider. For the most part, I would say if you're flexible enough, like I'm 6 foot, 205 pounds, honestly, any of these glide boards, to me, in my opinion, are fine, and I would get used to any of them. Definitely, I'll talk with the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks later. It's a lot more flimsier and narrower than I would say I was used to at the time, but now it's just, you know, if you get accustomed to whatever you're used to. But honestly, you know, the big thing for me is going to be stability and also considering your flexibility. So I want to show you just compared to all the machines as you're doing a seated chest press. For some people, if you're not flexible to kind of sit in your knees, which I like to do a lot, if you're taller, that might be an issue. I mean, I'm talking taller like 6'2" and above. You know, you got to consider if you can't do this, you're going to have your feet kind of hang on the side, and you can tuck your legs up, but for you, it might be kind of hard to actually really tuck and fold your legs back. But in general, if you're getting around like my height, I'd even say 5'8", 5'9", I say 5'10" and above, you're going to want to sit a little bit higher up in the glide board to avoid having that glide board bottoming out, hitting the back. Now, if you're shorter, honestly, none of these things are going to apply to you. If you're shorter, it's actually better. You got a lot more versatility in the machine. In my opinion, if you're shorter, that's a plus. And I think if you're 6 foot, you're fine. You can see here, I'm not even used to this Weider Ultimate Bodyworks anymore. It just feels so much more rickety to what I remember. Even the pressing feels a little bit different, like something to get used to. When you're fully extended on the machine, like your face up, again, you're seeing someone who's 6 foot here. I'm used to this, doing something like this. For some people, this might feel like a tight squeeze. Other people, you could just, if you're really tall, if this was too tight with your feet being close together, you could simply just take your feet up a little bit. But if you could also figure, if you have really long limbs, this might make a difference too, and just like how far you might bottom out, or also how far you have to like get, you know, scoot up the machine to start with some tension. Here, again, I think this is no big deal. You have to scoot a little bit further down the machine to kind of start off with some tension, so you're not starting off with like totally at the bottom of the machine. But again, in my opinion, all you gotta do is flex your knees. If you're face down, not a big deal. Even these exercises, I'd say for the most part, aren't going to be a big deal unless you got crazy long arms. Otherwise, for most people, this isn't going to be a problem. On the Apex, you can see, I mean, very closely that there's a little bit more of a squeeze. You can see like the end of my toes are kind of hanging off there. Again, if I was used to this machine, it probably wouldn't even be a big deal. I'm not even showing the Fit because it's exactly the same thing as the Great Flex would look like. But the Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, again, it was kind of a tighter squeeze. And you can see, again, more so now than I used to notice, but really my like body is kind of like hanging off the machine just because it's a little more narrower. So my kids are making a little more noise than usual today, so I apologize. But otherwise, I'd say, you know, all this stuff, I want to show you guys that. I'm just so used to hopping on those other sturdier machines that if you're taller, I would say avoid a cheaper, thinner model, whatever that might be. Again, they don't make this, but Proform makes it, and I haven't reviewed that yet. But I would say, you know, you're going to want something with a little bit wider base. So the Fit is definitely going to be a good option. The XLS by Total Gym is an option. The Great Flex also very good, comparable as far as like the glide board like dimensions in general. Now, when you compare things like the major movement patterns, I think I covered most of them. Most single joint stuff for like shoulders, lying lateral raises, frontal raises, you guys will be good. For like lying down pull-ups, even these, I think no matter how tall you are, I think you'll be fine positioning yourself on a certain angle to make this work, honestly. I will talk about the different, I'd upgrade actually the handles right here, these pull-up bars, to the tri-grip handles if you were taller. And it's been a while since I busted these out, and honestly, these were feeling really, really good. I probably want to go back to messing around with these. I just kind of been out of sight, out of mind, and I have a different opinion of them now just from kind of using them a little bit in this workout. But I'd recommend if you're taller, have a little longer of like a wingspan, so to speak, I would definitely opt for these. I think it'll make, you know, pull-ups and even inverted presses a little bit better, just give you guys some more versatility and options. My overall point in summing this up is that I would say if you're like getting up to like 6'2", again, 6 foot to 6'2", I think you're no problems. When you get to above 6'4", it's hard for me to say like, yes, this would be fine. I still think you could reap a lot of benefits out of this machine if you're like 6'5", but really, ultimately, if you're shorter, you're good across the board. If you got any comments, people that are out there that are taller use this machine, I know you guys are watching this channel, please comment down below. You'd help out so many people that I can refer this video to that would ask questions about this. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.